hit record on the OBS.
Yeah.
And
then yell out to Karen.
Yeah, I'm just about to go.
Karen is what?
Go live. Okay, Karen, I'm just about to go live. Okay, 1, 2, and are you ready, Garth?
Oh, it's ready as I'll ever be.
Yeah, Michael.
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And
don't forget the clapper.
Yep.
The clapper? Wouldn't wish that on anyone, surely.
Here we go. Clapped. Oops, missed. Go live. And we're live.
Hello, everybody. We've made it. Show 221. Now, we've spent hours trying to fix this audio situation, and I believe we've copped it and got it right tonight. So, yes, we're lucky. I've got Garth. Go.
I was going to say, just don't jinx it. Don't say anything to jinx it, Michael.
Yeah, so there's my friend Garth. How are you, my friend?
Good, Michael. How are you, sir?
Good, mate. Good. Zarn, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Sounds great. Yeah. Good to hear you all.
Yes. Yes. Hey, we've got video, we've got audio, just unbelievable. So I've changed the run format just a little bit. So this week's sponsors, we've got adhwebhosting.com.au and aussietechradio.com.au. So, and our Aussie Apple ramblings this week, I'm sorry for the audio quality of the last week's show. It drives me batty. But anyway.
We're all sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Garth does a great job.
If you want to listen to the audio rather than the video, that's your problem. No, I am sorry. I should have spent more time trying to clean it up, but you know.
Nah, you did a great job, mate. Did a great job. So, The Verge reports Tim Cook says the next iOS update will allow users to disable intentional battery slowdowns. Apple CEO Tim Cook today shared that the next update to iOS 11 will allow users to disable battery performance throttling on their device. The move comes after Apple last month admitted it intentionally slows down iPhones as they get older to prevent issues that may arise as the batteries depreciate. In an interview with US ABC News, Cook said the update will arrive next month in a developer release before wider public rollout. We're going to give the people visibility of the health of their battery, so it's very, very transparent, he says. This hasn't been done before. No, nothing in Apple's transparent, is it? Cook also says the update will more clearly inform users when their iPhone is automatically reducing its performance in an effort to prevent unexpected shutdowns. And if you don't want it, you can turn it off, Cook says, though he maintains that this is not recommended. So maybe they're going to make the picture on the screen smaller as the battery depreciates.
Well, we just sort of shrink the whole home screen down into just a little postage stamp in the middle of the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I can do this or I can shut off. Which do you want me to do?
So no guesses, no trouble guessing what setting you will prefer, Michael?
I'm a man that I trust Apple intently, so yeah.
Intently, okay.
I don't want them
and
to crack.
Intensely?
As well.
Yeah. How about you, Zarn?
I think that it's good that they're going, they're making it transparent. My battery at the moment is playing up, so I'm going to have to get it replaced. And hopefully when that happens, I'll never get any of these alerts.
Well, $39 at the Apple Store. There you go.
Yes.
I was sort of thinking about this, and I think the one thing that would change it for me is it really depends on how aggressive their software has been. You know what I mean? So I'd probably leave it on don't slow me down. As soon as I had a crash, though, I'm thinking, okay, battery's finally depleted enough that it's a problem. Or, the battery's finally crappy enough.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely noticing the slowdown on my phone. But the Genius, when they tested it, it was still in the yellow range. It wasn't in the red range.
Yeah.
It was still just in the yellow range. And I reckon had they not been quite as aggressive with the slowing down,
Yeah.
it probably would have been fine. You know what
Forever.
I mean?
Yeah.
No, not for until the battery had got to an even crappier state of affairs. Until it was even more worn out.
Well,
and then there would be an error of margin. There'd be a margin of error there.
Yeah.
Well, I was out today in the heat helping a mate, and my battery went from 100% to 1% in probably 2.5, 3 hours in the heat.
Eek.
Yep. So
was it in the direct sun or anything like that?
Maybe for half an hour.
Half an hour would do it.
Yeah. while getting parts for his car. But other than that, it was in the shade the rest of the day. So I lost a big chunk of battery in half an hour because of the sun.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty warm down here, Garth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you poor buggers, eh?
37 in Sydney today when I went in there. It was 39 when I left Penrith, and we got to 37 in the city. That's
I think we
rare.
hit 30.
Oh. Yeah, it was
I can
Story 2, maybe.
It's too hot to go to
before
the
I
beach.
get lynched.
This one blows me mind. This story. So the iOS App Store will be bigger than the entire worldwide movie industry sometime this year. So following Apple's announcement of breaking app sales in the holiday shopping season, that being $300 million just on New Year's Day alone, and $590 million for the previous 6 days. So Simcoe's Horace DeJew did some number crunching and came up with some surprising facts. Not least among them is the clear pointer that the iOS app sales will be worth more than the entire worldwide movie industry some point this year. The Jew noted back in 2015 that the App Store billings overtook gross US box office takings, and observed then that it was only a matter of time before it will be true globally. So other interesting comparisons drawn. Developer payment rate is now above $25 billion a year. That's higher than the revenue of McDonald's Corporation in 2016. During this year, iOS users will be spending about $100 million per day for apps. And this was that was Google's ad revenue rate in 2012. The spending on App Store has been rising steadily, adding about $5 billion a year since mid-2011. Apps are the biggest component of Apple services and helped that segment gross over $57 billion in 2017, passing Fortune 100 level net of developer payments. And the growth rate in app developer income is around 33% per year.
All right.
Like it's just, the numbers are and how old is it? 10 years old, 9 years old.
And Panic can't keep transmit for the iOS alive.
It's just unbelievable.
It is pretty unbelievable, isn't
it? Yeah.
Jeez.
Or is that why they're investing in the movie industry, because they're getting them all cheap?
Yeah,
before you go out of business.
Yeah. Well, the movie industry isn't going out of business anytime soon, but I don't know. Does this mean Flappy Bird's is bigger than, I don't know, what's some Hollywood star at the moment?
Yeah.
Should have thought that one through a bit before I opened my mouth, shouldn't I? I don't know.
It's bigger than the remake of Jumanji anyway.
Yeah, well, that's an example, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
you said that sorry, but you said that was it 100 million? Was it 100 million in apps? I missed it. Annually?
Spending
people spend US alone 100 million in apps
per day.
So that would mean a little bit under a quarter of the population owns an iPhone or iPad or
Well, didn't they recommend? Didn't they say there was about 1 billion?
Yeah.
Active iOS devices.
Yeah, but in America alone, because it's just 320 million people or something like that. Give or take. I know that's not the correct figure. So if they're
sorry, I think what they're saying is $100 million per day worldwide, measured in US dollars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Per day.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Per day.
That's fair enough.
And Apple previously or recently have mentioned about a billion active iOS devices.
Wow.
So we're looking at Hold on, do the maths. So 100,
astounding, it's just astounding. So as I said, I've changed the timing around a little bit, so we're doing our ad. So reminder, this week we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. Affordable competitive plans, 99.95% uptime, domain registration, free setup, auto setup, instant activation, accepting PayPal and other cards, 250 scripts, using cPanel, the industry standard user-friendly feature-rich control panel, all from $5.95 per month when paid annually. And Glenn's been working hard at keeping the servers right up to date so that we don't get any leaked memory so people can't see other things going on.
I pop around every now and then to wheel the bearings so that when you're standing on that treadmill running away, it's all good.
Excellent. So now I do have a little challenge for everybody. There's a new Mac OS DNS hijacking malware discovered. Apple's Mac OS is reportedly the target of a new DNS hijacking exploit. As noted by The Hacker News, the malware is being likened to the DNS change Trojan that affected over 4 million computers in 2011. This sort of malware works by changing the DNS server settings on affected computers, thus routing traffic through malicious servers and logging sensitive data in the process. This new version is being referred to as OSX MAMI, M-A-M-I, and news of the malware first appeared on the Malwarebytes forum, prompting ex-NSA hacker Patrick Wardell to do a deep dive into it. Wardell found that the malware is indeed a DNS hijacker, but actually goes further and installs a new root certificate to hijack encrypted communication. Currently, you can check to make sure you aren't affected by launching System Preferences, heading into the Network menu, choosing Advanced, and toggling over to the DNS tab. On that tab, keep an eye out for 82.163.143.135 and 82.163.142.137. That's the baddies. It's important to note that as of right now, antivirus products are not detecting the malware. So please just go in. It's very simple to go and see if you've been affected, and just change the DNS settings back. And you might have to check it every time you restart your machine for a while.
You might, yeah. At least it's quick and easy to check that you haven't been affected.
Yeah. So, and that'll also be written.
Did they also say when, like your virus software and stuff like that will be able to sort of recognize these things?
No, but like the antivirus software gets updated every single day. So, but it might take a couple of days. That I don't know, because I don't know about the root certificate, how they go about detecting and sorting that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye on it, and just be aware, and you'll be able to read those specific numbers again in the show notes, which are at aussiemaczone.com.au, and then you'll see show notes as one of your selections there. Now,
just put Just set your DNS to Google's, and if it changes off, you'll know about it pretty soon.
Yeah, well, that's 8.8.8.8, and I want to say 8.8.4.4.
8.8.4.4.
Yeah.
You'd be right.
There you go. Now, here's an Aussie story, a good Aussie story. NAB sees Amazon Alexa integration as pointing to the future of banking. So does that mean I can just say, Alexa, give me all your money? Is that what they mean? Or
Yeah. It's Amazon. They want you to give them your money.
So the National Australia Bank has announced integration with Amazon Alexa, allowing customers to ask the voice-activated assistant certain questions about their bank account when the service go live in Australia next month. Now, according to Executive General Manager of Digital and Innovation, Jonathan Davey, when looking at the way the bank thinks consumers will interact with technology over the next decade or so, voice activation is the clear forerunner. We fundamentally believe as an organisation, the way we need to be able to provide services to customers is changing, and we're in a unique position where we're fortunate enough to be able to work with some of the most interesting and innovative companies around the world, Davey told ZDNet. Davey, who oversees the bank's innovation arm, NAB Labs, said that by partnering with the likes of Amazon and Google, NAB has visibility about how other organisations are reinventing the way consumers deal with service providers. Reflecting on his own use of voice assistants in his personal life, Davey said their presence starts to change people's behaviour. Davey uses the voice-activated assistant to set his morning alarm, and while he knows he can do it fairly easily on his phone, performing the task verbally allows him to do it while performing other tasks and before he forgets. You just find yourself interacting and asking questions, he added. The way we engage with technology is changing, and increasingly we're using voice. As a bank, we think the opportunity for our customers to be able to use those services is just a natural evolution of the use of digital channels. So my only challenge for this one being on Amazon's devices, if I say, tell me how much is in the bank account, I can say that whenever I walk into someone's and see their Amazon device, and I should know how much is there in their bank when I just walk in the door and ask the question. Is that correct or incorrect?
It sounds a little bit like that, doesn't it? There must be some kind of...
It's voice recognition.
Yeah, but the biggest challenge is it just understands what I'm asking, but it doesn't understand who's asking it. So if you ask a certain question and your missus has got a bank account with more money in it than you know about, it's going to tell you that. That's the challenge. So, yeah, that's my only challenge with that.
Yeah, I wonder if there is any kind of voice sort of, because I know the Google device does that, doesn't it? It does know who's speaking to it. It recognizes, the voice print of the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so as we understand it, yes.
Not sure if Alexa does that at all, or if this skill, the NAB skill on Alexa does that at all. And sort of following on from that story or whatever is, you see there's a lot more rumors about shipments of HomePods coming to Apple, ready for sale.
Yes.
So we might be seeing a HomePod before too long.
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah,
sure
they've missed the big buying spree, but maybe they that means they won't have a super big embarrassment period either, will they? Like if they only sell 100,000 in the next 2 months, then only 100,000 have got to work properly. So
right, okay.
Yeah, and it just gives people time to appreciate them and learn them a bit too. So.
Do you think that maybe they're going to reveal something amazing because everybody else is, sort of releasing theirs, and so then Apple will release theirs, and it's going to just be this big wow like, oh my God, they can do so much more than everybody else.
You don't think so? I reckon they're going to nail the. If I ask for my diary for the day, or Karen asks for the diary for the day, I think they're going to nail that pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're going to do. Well, what I'm saying, Zarn, I guess, is they're not going to. There's nothing new. There won't be anything different from what we've already been told it will do.
Okay.
It's a speaker with smarts built in, not a smart thing that uses a speaker to communicate with you.
Okay.
So, that's how I anticipate it will be presented, because that's how it already has been presented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've said there'll be messaging, reminders, calendar, your typical sort of serious stuff around weather, traffic, news. So ask it for the news in the morning. It'll give you a nice little news update. Ask it for the weather. Ask it if it's going to be busy on the roads today on the way to work.
Yeah.
All of that sort of stuff. It'll do really well. As well as a little bit of, and I'll be interested, the thing that I am interested to see that we don't really know is how is it going to do the messaging / reminders / calendar type stuff in a secure way to a specific person, along those same lines that we're talking about with the NAB app or the NAB skill on Alexa. Because Apple have said, look, you're going to be able to do I think they said messaging. I'm not sure about that one, but certainly reminders and calendars, both of which are a personal, they're tied to one Apple ID.
Yeah.
And this is a home device.
Yep.
So the integration could be as simple as, you've got family sharing turned on. So by default, you do have a family calendar, you have family reminders, things like that. So maybe it's going to, it'll just default to the family calendar.
Yep.
If you're using family sharing, so anyone in the home can add to the family calendar. But maybe, and that will be a bit of a wow for me, it will tie specifically to the individual who's speaking. And I'll be able to get my messages, my calendar, my reminders, and add to them. I think that will be pretty cool if it nails that stuff. And that I think the Google Home does that to a degree.
Yeah. But I think that's the challenging bit, and I think that's where it's going to excel.
Yeah, and that will be a wow, I guess, if it manages to do that.
Yeah, well, that would be great. I think that's what. I think maybe that's why they're taking so long. It's going to come out, and you're going to be able to sync, 3-4 phones to it, and get your personal messages as well as your family sharing. So, yeah, let's hope
we'll see.
We'll see. Yep. Now I'm just going to chuck another story in before we go on. So there's an interesting one Zarn picked up today. Apple leak reveals sudden cancellation of. So it may be the smartphone of the moment, but a new leak reveals Apple will soon cancel the iPhone 10, and the source could not be more credible. In a new report obtained by Apple Insider, acclaimed KGI security analyst Min Ji Kuo says disappointing sales of the iPhone will lead to the cancellation of the model, with production ceasing in the summer. Now, this would be the first time Apple has cancelled an iPhone model after just one generation since the iPhone 5C in 2014. Kuo, who has a long track record of successfully revealing Apple's plans, said the disinterest in China is the main reason. In China, big screens are king, and the iPhone 10's polarizing notch is seen by Chinese consumers as removing too much usable space, especially when the cheaper iPhone Plus actually delivers slightly more. So
iPhone 8 Plus.
I won't read any more of that.
8 Plus, yeah.
But I think that's I accept that maybe they're going to stop making the iPhone 10 in the summer, as they say, because I think that's probably when they stopped making the previous year's iPhone anyway.
Yeah, but I guess the point is...
Sorry, Garth, go ahead.
You right? Sorry, you right, Mitchell? Yeah. Move it. Sorry, hang
on. That's all right.
Just had a 15-year-old need to get his AirPods. How desperate! That's a desperate need, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the big difference here, though, Michael, is that, well, right now I can go and buy an iPhone 7, new
Yeah.
from Apple. You can buy an iPhone 6S, new from Apple. If when they replace the iPhone 10, well, we get an iPhone X1, XI, or whatever it's called.
Whatever it's going to be.
This September's flagship model, normal behavior would be that 10 would still be created and just, move down the notch, move down the row, sort of by one. What we could be foreseeing here, or sort of what's his face, because I'm not going to try and say that name right now. Because
Ming Chi Kuo.
Ming Chi Kuo, yeah. What he could be seeing is plans that rather than doing that typical thing of taking last year's model and making it the cheaper one down model, what we'll see is a new version of the 10 ceasing production of the current one, a new version of the 8 and 8 Plus that, or some variants that take the same processor. So we get a basically new replacement for the current lineup. A new OLED.
8S's.
Yeah. 8S's, 8 Plus S's.
Yeah.
With the new chip, an iPhone 10s. Let's go an XS. There you go. An iPhone XS. Still in the same form factor, cancelling production of the older models.
Well, that's what it pretty much
possibly
says anyway. It pretty much says that they're going to cancel this somewhere, and then it goes on to explain that they're not exactly cancelling it anyway.
Yeah.
That what they're doing is, they'll bring out the iPhone 10s. They'll bring out the iPhone 10s Plus. We don't know what they're going to bring out. This is all speculation. But they're saying, that this is what's going to happen, and it's what they do anyway. So it's not really news. It's just what Apple does.
It is different though. It is different from current, because normally the 10 would be left in production as the cheaper model.
Yeah, so they might even do that.
This is maybe not going to happen.
Yeah.
And like the iPhone 5C, it got superseded, didn't it? They didn't really cancel it after just one iteration, because we've got the SE.
With the SE.
It was 2 years later though.
Yeah, but
you could still buy them. You can still buy the 5Cs, and then they're saying they got superseded, but you can still buy the 5.
That's normal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it got the SE. You could still buy the 5Cs right up until the SE come out.
So a more immediate question, I guess, is: are we going to see an SE Plus or an SEX or a update to the SE in the next little while?
Yeah, well, it says in the report, it says that they will definitely be updating the SE, that will superseding the SE for something that will be similar to the SE. So, it's all speculation, but
Yeah, I would totally agree. Same form factor, you think, guys? We're still going to have an option to buy a new iPhone with a headphone jack if you wish.
Yeah, I think so.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Because I think that's
I'd consider an SE. Yeah. I'd certainly consider one right now.
Yeah.
That little form factor, I actually like that little form factor, because I can't see the screen anyway. I don't care how big it is. Less room in my pocket.
Now, you ready, Zarn?
Yep.
Just another reminder, this week we are also brought to you by Aussie Tech Radio. And now we've got some news about Aussie Tech Radio, which is awesome. So it's www.aussietechradio.com. And now we've got our sister podcasts on there, which is Aussie Tech Security Podcast and the award-winning Aussie Tech Heads Podcast. And we have a new show, a very new show, and it's called Aussie Tech Crypto. So it's for newbies to the crypto environment, and it has an Aussie perspective.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yes. So please get into it and get listening. They've just started. And Aussie Tech Radio also has other podcasts from Australia and New Zealand. So good on you, boys. Get into it. And there's just some more news for our fantastic people at Aussie Tech Radio.
Well, that's great news.
Yes. Now, Amazon Echo range and Music Unlimited service coming to Australia and New Zealand. So, as we just alluded in the NAB story, Amazon has announced that its Music Unlimited service and Alexa-powered speakers, the Echo Plus, and the Echo Dot, will be available in Australia and New Zealand next month. The company's music streaming service gives users access to a catalogue of more than 45 million songs. It will launch in the two countries on February 1, when Aussies and Kiwis will be able to sign up for a free 90-day trial. After that, a monthly subscription will be required to continue to use the service. Users will be able to choose between 3 plans. The Echo plan is the cheapest, offering access to the service via a single Echo, Echo Dot, or Echo Plus, and will be for Australian $4.99 a month. Next up is the individual plan at Australian $11.99 per month that also lets you access the music service from a mobile device or PC. And the last option is the family plan, allowing up to 6 members of a household to share a subscription at $17.99 per month. And yes, remember, February 1 is the official release date.
Also,
Are we ready to go? Who's going for it?
I'm thinking.
yeah, we'll see.
No.
No.
I'm thinking about it. So there's you can get 2 dots for $80 in pre-order, which I think is a pretty good deal.
How big are the dots?
Yay big.
Yeah.
So a couple of inches. They're only quite small.
Yeah.
They do have a speaker. They totally work as an Alexa device, as a Echo device. Line out, so you can plug them into a bigger, more powerful speaker if you want to.
Yep.
So I think for the money, it's pretty good. And I also think that their streaming service, now usability and all that sort of stuff, don't know. But if you were just having a Dot or just one Alexa device of any kind, Echo device, then $4.95, $5 a month for a library that is about the same size as Apple Music is pretty good.
Yeah. Certainly, if you live alone, in a just like a little unit,
or even if you live in a house, live with other people in a normal house.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants a speaker blaring music in every room. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You might have one lounge room or whatever where you have your entertainment system. Hook up a $40, or I think it'll be a bit dearer afterwards, $40-$50 device to that with a $5 a month subscription, and you've got basically the thing I love about Apple Music is the Siri integration.
Yeah.
Other than the Siri integration, who cares which one of them you pick, right? And with this Echo device, you are basically getting that. The only interface you have to that music is via voice. It's the same sort of interface.
Yeah.
Hey, what's a face over there? Can you play me blah? And she probably will.
So
I don't know. I think it's quite a compelling product.
Yeah, I've got Apple Music as well, and I pay for my whatever it is, Apple Music. I don't know if it's yearly, monthly, whatever. I just pay it. But Alexa and the Dot are pretty much doing the same thing. So why would
you swap from one to the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's not the argument I'm making. I'm arguing for those who haven't bought into this yet.
Yeah. Okay. So,
or if you're trying to save a few pennies, the cheapest you can do Apple Music is $12.95 a month or something like that, isn't it?
It's $11.99.
$11.99. There you go. I'm on the family one here, so me and my son both use it heavily. So we're doing the $17 version.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to cut down on some of those subscriptions, $5 a month plus a device that only costs you $50 or so, plus all the other stuff you get with an Echo or with one of these Amazon ladies in a box or in a tube, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the way I watch my nieces and stuff like that with their, they've got Android phones, some of them got Apple phones, whatever. But ones that have got Android phones, and that they're just using YouTube, and
Yeah.
they don't want to listen to an album anyway. You know, it's a song from here, it's a song from there, and they just use YouTube, and you can Bluetooth it to anything that's got Bluetooth.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think
and it's
you know
free.
what you're making there is an argument for the Google devices, Google Home and so forth, because you get a subscription to YouTube Red, which is
Well, I've
around
got
that
one.
same price.
Yep.
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 You've instantly got access to Google's playlist.
Yeah,
So the Google Music comes included
that's right.
with YouTube Red.
Yep.
So if you had a Google Home device, and you can get pretty cheap versions of those with line outs as well.
Yeah.
Google Mini, you're already paying for YouTube Red. You've got another version of Apple Music sitting right there.
Yep.
To be fair, I don't think there's a heap of difference between any of these services.
Yeah.
What it comes down to is where is it convenient? How is it easy for you to use?
Yep.
It all comes down to the UI.
Yep.
Whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, now we're getting access to Amazon's cloud music service, Google, they're all, you got 40, 50,000 songs either way, any way you go.
Yeah.
The cheapest one I can see at the moment, though, if you're not already paying for something else, is Alexa's there.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That's fair.
$5 a month.
Yep.
Done and dusted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, over time, we're going to see more stuff that you get with Apple Music. You're getting more TV shows.
Yep.
I don't think Amazon obviously has a lot of video streaming, has a video streaming service as well. You're not going to get that included for your $4.95. I don't.
No, you're not, because I've got Amazon TV, and
Yep.
that's still just the Amazon TV by itself is $4.99 at the moment. It's a special I
Yeah.
got because they were new to Australia, and I got it for $4.95 or something like that a month for the first 12 months.
Okay.
And then it goes
Is that
up.
is that offer still out there?
I'm not sure. Check it out though. Go on to Amazon and find out.
Yeah.
It's good. It's worth
Because there you
it.
go.
Yeah.
You've got a TV service, which isn't as good as Netflix, but still is pretty
It's
good.
not.
There's stuff on there I want to watch.
It does.
still
It does have the Grand Tour on there, which is the old Top
Yep.
Gear boys. And if you're a car, fan, it's good to watch, and it's a good laugh. So,
Yeah.
But I watch a couple of other things on there as well, so I'm actually getting probably my money's worth, I guess. I don't know. So yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
probably blabbled on about that. I think we're going to be turning into Aussie Echo Zone at this stage.
So we've got a decade without discs. The original MacBook Air turns 10. So when the original MacBook Air launched in January 2008, it was the first Mac in over a decade designed without a built-in optical drive. It was the first Mac to embrace a wireless future where ports and cables were discarded in favour of reduced weight and thickness. It paved the way for placing SSDs in all modern Macs instead of slow mechanical hard drives. It brought the widespread adoption of multi-touch trackpads to Mac, and as Apple is quick to note, it's the world's thinnest notebook. The first new product Steve Jobs announced after taking the stage for Macworld 2008 keynote was a time capsule, a router and a wireless backup solution to work with Time Machine, Apple's then new backup software. Jobs would talk about another kind of time machine before the keynote was over, the MacBook Air. This he unveiled by taking it out of a manila envelope pushed down the side of the couch seat that he was just sitting in and doing his talking. So, they originally had, because it talks about spinning hard drives, they originally had the same hard drive out of iPods in them.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, just little 1.8-inch ones. And, they weren't fast and they weren't cheap. They were pretty expensive.
And they weren't any good. But they certainly set the
scene.
scene.
Wanted it for. Depends what you wanted. Yep.
Yeah.
Like all of Apple's machines, depends who you are and what you want. So,
Well, the predecessor a year later has certainly, that I think it was only a year later they introduced the cast this current version that we still can buy of the MacBook Air, right?
Yeah.
Basically that, and
Yeah.
it's still, I mean, that form factor set the whole industry, changed the whole industry, I think.
Yeah.
And it's still my favorite of all of them.
Right. Yeah, you can't get the 11-inch anymore. You can still get the 13-inch.
I know, I'm very sad.
But you can get a HP that looks the same, and I think you can get an Asus that looks the same, and another one that's almost identical. Yeah, so yeah.
The Asus is borderline copyright infringement.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's maybe I want one, because I'd kill for a new MacBook 11-inch MacBook Air, a new updated MacBook 11-inch Air. I would kill for. That's,
So before we get on to our how-tos, and I've got 3 this week to try and expand that out. Any more news, fellas, that you want to talk about?
No, I threw in the little bits and pieces I wanted to throw in as we went through.
Yeah,
there we go. So.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm happy with everything.
Yeah. So
back to
iOS Mail. Yes, sorry. iOS Mail. Most recent messages on top. So I find it's easier to keep track of long email threads by having the most recent messages added to the top rather than the bottom of a thread. So you head to Settings, Mail, and toggle on most recent messages on top. Now, when you tap the little blue arrow to expand a thread, you'll be able to view the most recent messages without needing to scroll. Just a little time saver, but if you're doing lots of backward and forward, it just does make a difference. Again, iOS Mail, collapse read messages. It's easy to lose your place in a long email thread when attempting to navigate it on your phone. With iOS 11, Apple has added an option in Mail's preferences that helps you keep your place. It's called collapse read messages, and it is enabled by default. You can find it by going to Settings, Mail, and scrolling down to the threading section. With it enabled, all of the messages in the thread that you've already read will be collapsed. So when you open a thread, you'll be able to easily read the unread messages that await without needing to scroll past the read messages, which you won't have to do anyway if they're at the top. Now, iOS Mail. Markup attachments. So if you receive an email with a PDF that needs to be signed, for example, or has an image attached, you can mark up the attachment without leaving Mail. And this is really, really excellent. To do so, open the attachment and tap anywhere on it, and tap the toolbox button in the lower right corner. This will open a reply email, and then open the attachment with edit tools that let you draw, magnify, and add text to the file. With your notes added, tap Done, and then send your reply with the annotated attachment. So there will be a link in the show notes. And remember, aussiemaczone.com.au.
Very good.
So here comes our bit of self-promotion. Don't forget, Spotify, just search for Aussie Mac Zone. Apple News, search for Aussie Mac Zone and click on the heart, so you'll see our stories come up as you're scrolling through your news stories. Now, anything else, gentlemen, or will I just continue thanking everybody?
Thank the hell out of everybody, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you to our listeners, our sponsors, this week being athwebhosting.com.au and aussietechradio.com, and our supporters. And thank you, Zarn, for doing such an awesome job, and thank you, Garth, for talking so well.
Thank you, Garth, for talking such crap.
Never.
Thank you,
You're
Michael.
the clever one.
Thank you, Garth. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
And remember,
I really appreciate it.
an apple a day keeps the androids away.
I'll go and take.
I got it.
How about an apple pie?
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.